topic is social justice. We will be starting with River for this one. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act is a criminal justice reform bill that would ban chokeholds and no-knock warrants, end qualified immunity for police officers, and create a national database of police misconduct and promote racial justice and accountability in law enforcement. Do you support this bill, and why or why not? How would this bill address the issues of police brutality and racial disparities in Colorado and the nation?
Thank you. I would absolutely support this bill. It is a necessary step in protecting people of color who have every right to walk down a street or sleep in their own homes or simply exist as a white person does. Systemic racism is a deeply rooted issue in America's history. The social, economic, and political divide in our inequality will take generations to undo. And we must work into resolving this and undo the impacts of slavery, Jim Crow, and racial profiling. This requires holding our law enforcement accountable, and we need to reallocate those resources so that we can help more people. In Denver, the STAR program had responded to over 8,000 calls and would have otherwise been dispatched to police. 41% of those calls ended up being referred to mental health or substance use treatment. I know that there are good people in uniform who want to uphold the law and create a safer community. We need to hold everyone accountable for their actions, and we need to humanize their treatment of people.
Thank you. Orlando, 1 minute.
Yes, I support the bill. I think that we've got to, like River was saying, put somebody in between the persons that are out there doing bad things and create a social network. I also want to just make sure that I say that I do support universal basic income. And I think that would go a long way towards helping people out. I think a lot of things are motivated by people that are just trying to make it through another day. I think, thank you. I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Adam, 1 minute.
So I like a lot about this bill, but before I go any further, I think it's important that I recognize that my experiences with law enforcement are drastically different than our black and brown communities out there. I've never been afraid for my life when dealing with cops, and that needs to be recognized and that needs to be stated, okay? Now, with the second half of that question, the effectiveness that it's going to have in this area, I don't think it will be effective because we are so short-manned right now. We cannot bring people in for more training if we have a shortage of 80 officers on the patrol side right now. Until we start, getting a police academy here and increasing the amount of training and the amount of qualified officers that we can put on the streets, we can't bring people in for this new qualified training. So we need to continue to push for a police academy here that will be able to recruit and retain people from these disparaged communities that want to be a part of the solution.
Thank you. And we are switching online. Joe, you have 1 minute.
Well, thank you for the question. This is an important question. I do agree with this bill. My grandfather was a police officer throughout his career. He was the chief of police in the town next to the one I grew up in. And he believed, and he taught me, that when we hold officers accountable for what they do, that benefits the entire community. Everyone should feel safe in their community, and this legislation moves it in the first step. One of the areas that we have to take it beyond that is it reforming not just the police element, but also the full judicial system. And I've worked on alternative justice pathways in the past to bring other elements other than incarceration as being a solution to these problems.
Thank you. John.
Hi. The George Floyd murder was a murder, and it never should have happened in America. Black Americans should be able to walk down the street without fear that the people who are sworn to protect them might gun them down. The likelihood of me getting killed by a police officer is far less than a black man. And that's a problem in America. I believe authority must be held accountable. Authority without accountability is what leads to abuse. I will support legislation to ban chokeholds, no-knock warrants, and qualified immunity for the most heinous of crimes like murder and physical injury. Thank you.
All right, thank you. River, you got 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, it seems like all the candidates agree that this bill is good, so I will keep this short. People of color deserve better, and our law enforcement should be here to serve and protect us all.
I agree to some respect with Adam, but I think that what we've got to do is, and to touch on another subject, is start taxing the rich, and I think that would be a way for us to pay for the academy. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
So, like I said, I 100% support getting rid of the qualified immunity. There needs to be clear red lines, and if you cross over that red line, you need to be held accountable. That's somebody who's received law of armed conflict training, and that's how we operate. Any good society is built on law and order, and it starts with the people who are trying to put that into the communities. With the chokeholds, you can't stop training that, because when you're in a hand-to-hand combat, it will get used, and we need to make sure people
That's
know how
Tom.
to use it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And moving online. Joe, you have 30 seconds for rebuttal if you'd like it.
I would just reiterate the alternative justice pathways component of this, where when we look at our law enforcement, the entire pathway, going from where law enforcement engage all the way beyond into the judicial system, we have to make sure that we're addressing those inequalities across that spectrum. And I've seen that at the national level in communities and implemented that successfully.
Thank you. And John?
We need to end racism everywhere it exists, in all of our institutions, including education. Education should be equal in every zip code, no matter what family a child's born into. Education leads to knowledge, knowledge leads to power. Thank you.
All right, that wraps up question 3.